Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of How's It Burn. My name is Jen, I'm the artist behind North Star Pyrography. And today I'm going to show you what it's like to burn on cedar. Cedar is one of my top favorites to burn on. It's soft, very comparable to pine, maybe a little bit softer than pine. This one's an aromatic cedar plank that I actually got from a grocery store used to barbecue fish and stuff on to get that nice cedar smoky taste. It is widely available in most hardware stores, so it's relatively easy to get. I use it a lot in signs. When people want signs, this is my go-to wood because it works really well outside. It resists rot, termites, and lasts for a long time. It's really good against weather. Cedar does have a high irritant rate, making it high for toxicity levels, so make sure you wear your mask, keep it out of your lungs, but otherwise, it's a fantastic wood. All right, so let's get started.
All right, so here we have our piece of cedar. So I'm going to start off here using the spear shader just for lines and whatnot. So even though it does have that grain and it makes it kind of similar to burning on pine, this grain I find is quite a bit softer than the grain in pine. So this one with the spear shader, because it's sharp, it cuts through those grains really well. You can still feel them, but you can't really see them, which is great. You can get the smooth shading on cedar. I don't have my pen turned up very high, it's about halfway. The grain will be kind of a problem in this instance. Like I tried to get the smooth shade in between. I don't normally do a lot of detailed pieces on the cedar just because when I clear coat it, I seem to lose a lot of the shading and the detail. So I try to avoid as much as possible. I've done a lot of silhouettes on the cedar, like plaques and stuff like that for houses, house numbers on them, stuff like that, and they look so awesome. You can get some really cool texture on it just because it's a bit softer, so you can see the texture, you can feel it. You can get some detail, so kind of like the pine, you just gotta go a little bit slower than you would on smoother woods like basswood, but you can get some really clean lines on it, which is nice. So here we have a tip that I've made myself. As I've mentioned in other videos, I use this one a lot for just about everything I burn. So you can get a smooth burn over it. Again, just the grain can get in the way. So you gotta just slow down a bit, take your time. You can go back over those grains and just fill them in. You can see where I've hit the grains and it's like doom, 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 doom. When you get the bigger areas like this where there's not a lot of grain, it's really great for burning on because they're nice and smooth. All right, so here's my ball tip. I mainly use this for stippling. Sometimes I use it for outlining, but not very often. It does stipple quite well. I've done very large pieces on the cedar before. I think my largest one was 4 feet by 3 feet, and I did a cow and a horse and a bunch of trees and stuff like that. And I found the best way to shade it was with the flat shader, because then it just glides over the grain a lot easier. So I've got it turned up, and then you can just glide over those grains. It's a lot easier than trying to shade with like your ball tip. All right, that's it for the cedar. You can get some really great burning on it. I love the contrast of the darkness of the burn compared to the wood. Cedar will actually surprise you though when you clear coat it. It does change sometimes drastically in color. Here we have one that I had done up before and clear coated it, so you can see how much of a change it did in the wood. It made it this really beautiful coppery red color. I lost a little bit of the shading here. It's not too bad. Cedar is one of my favorite pieces to work with just because that contrast in the wood between the dark and like the reddish color. So there we have it.